Hello everyone, welcome to the live stream. This is the What's New, What's Next, August 2022 for Beyondware. My name is Sam Lytle. If you can hear me, please let me know in the comments and we will just move forward. I'm going to give just a brief background of who I am and kind of wait for some others to start streaming in, and then we'll jump into the live stream. So my name is Sam Lytle. I am the founder and creator of Beyondware. And it's so good to have so many of you joining, and feel free to comment in the chat box. I'll try and monitor that as we move along and answer questions as necessary. So my background is in civil engineering. I am a licensed civil engineer from the state of Nevada. Actually just moved to Utah about a month ago with my family. And about 10 years ago, I fell in love with 3D visualization. And I started a company called Civil FX, built that for 6 years, and sold that in 2020 to Parametrics. And ever since then, I've been trying to build better 3D visualization software for transportation and civil with Beyondware. So we have two products, Beyond Typicals and Beyond CAD. Both of them have launched to the public this year, so they're both still pretty new. We're still getting users, and we are preparing for version 2 launches of both products, and that's what we're going to go to primarily today. But I do kind of want to give an update of what else is new with Beyondware before we get going. Thanks for all the comments letting me know that you can hear me, and we will transition to our slides. All right, so just a brief outline of what we're going to be covering today. I'll talk about what's new, what kind of content we've been creating. Also, we will jump into the Beyond Typicals version 2 preview, which I think is the most exciting part of this, but we'll see if you agree. And then we will jump into an early look of Beyond CAD version 2, and then we'll do some questions and answers. All right, so what's new in the Beyondware world? Just so you know, a lot of this content is on our website. So I just released a new video about the sequencer in Beyond CAD, which has gotten really good in the last couple updates. I'm going to just scroll down on our Beyond CAD product page. And it's called "There's No Post-Processing Necessary." And from the beginning, and Kurt's joining us, Kurt and his team at Washington State DOT, they've been fundamental in kind of pushing this along. But the sequencer is kind of like a video editing within Beyond CAD. And at this point, now you can not only add videos and cameras, but also you can add text, you can add phasing, you can add sound, you can add logo layovers, and a bunch of other stuff. So you don't have to do any sort of post-processing now with Beyond CAD. And again, this is still in version 1, and there are still things that we're going to push forward with this. But this little video that you see here, this montage, this was all rendered in one complete render out of Beyond CAD. So that's really exciting. If you are a Beyond CAD user, make sure that you're testing out the sequencer, giving us feedback on that. Also, there's a new What is Beyondware video. If you go to About Us, it's more of me, sorry, but that's where we are right now. And it's about 12 minutes long. And that's just kind of an overview of who I am, who we are as Beyondware, our products, and so on. I've been doing a lot of presentations to different companies that are interested in our software, and I'm hoping that that will be kind of a way for them to get some of that information either beforehand or afterward through that video. So check that out if you haven't already. We also have a new product brochure, especially aimed at kind of enterprise and corporate customers, and I'll be sending that out more and more. It's a 15-page PDF. So if you're interested, make sure to hit me up and let me know about this this new brochure, which goes over both the background of Beyondware and our products in depth, both Beyond Typicals and Beyond CAD. And then just as a reminder, if you weren't aware, you can go to beyondware.com, and we always try to keep these updated. If you scroll down, there's a latest updates, and so you can see all of the new content and videos and LinkedIn posts. They're supposed to all be right there, updated at least weekly. So check all those out. as often as you need to. All right, so let's talk about Beyond Typicals version 2. Super excited about this. I think it's going to change the game again, hopefully, and it's going to make version 1 look a little bit cartoonish. And some of you have already seen the previews, and so you know what I'm talking about. And I'll go through that, and you can go to the features. If you go to beyondware.com/BT2, and you can see this information for yourself. And I just released a video that came out this morning, and that video previews a lot of this and talks about the features that are going to be part of this Beyond Typicals 2 launch. And this is going to happen on November 1st, 2022. So the big thing is you'll see the realistic materials. And if you know me and our Beyondware team, I have a great technical team of developers and artists, and I try to stay out of Unreal Engine because I typically break things. But with this, I'm jumping right in, and I've taught myself how to do textures. So in about a week, I was able to learn how to do the texturing and really nerd it out with all of that. And I'll show you kind of more in depth of what that texturing is going to look like. We'll also have MetaHuman, which is an epic product. It's a new thing, and it's just a really realistic way to show people, and that's going to be really cool. It's not in there yet. And then this asset organizing, and I'll show this more in just a minute. But if you've used Beyond Typical, you know that you just hope that that asset shows up for that section. But now you'll be able to control all of that. Every asset you'll be able to assign to every section, and then you can do the inverse. You can go to the section and see which assets you want assigned. And so that way you can control which assets belong to which sections. And that all dovetails into this 3D importing. So you'll be able to also import 3D objects and then organize those as well. Included in that will be decals, and so you'll have realistic like pavement markings, for example, that you'll be able to place on there. If you want to get more organic, you can do cracks and bumps. We'll have an asset expansion pack, and so that's going to be like hundreds of new assets. They're not going to be shipped with the product, but you can download them separately, kind of a DLC type thing if you're used to gaming. And as a note, the 3D file importing and the asset expansion pack, those will both be Beyond Typicals Pro users only. So go to beyondware.com/BT2 to see this video if you have not already. And I'll try and keep this updated as we progress along. And you can see this render that's available on the website as well. And then you can see this comparison of version 1 versus version 2. This is still early on. This is Unreal Engine 4 versus Unreal Engine 5, and we have the new texturing. But once we get like the MetaHuman, we're going to have better vehicle assets, and we're even going to do some new vegetation. So I think 3D grass, for example. So those medians will have actual 3D grass once we're all done. So hopefully in a month or so, I'll be able to do new updated before and after renders, which are going to just show how much better and more realistic this version 2 is going to be. Just some small print on Beyond Typicals 2. This will be a new application download. And so if you are a Beyond Typicals 1 user, you will probably have Beyond Typicals 1 and Beyond Typicals 2 on your desktop at the same time. We didn't want to overwrite Beyond Typicals 1 because this is a whole new, there's just so much change happening here. And because of that, the old version 1 files won't work with version 2, but we will keep version 1 available so that you can keep using those files. And then I would just recommend anytime you're making a new file that you just redo it in Beyond Typicals 2. And if you've used Beyond Typicals, you know how easy it typically is to make these files. And so a lot of those files that you're using with clients, you're probably just going to want to remake them in Beyond Typicals 2, especially to utilize some of these new features, some of these new assets, 3D file importing, and so on. And one thing I want to point out with that 3D file importing that I'm so excited about is the ability now to go out to your project, use a drone, capture photogrammetry of your adjacent buildings, make a 3D file of that, and then bring it in right next to your project. And we don't have 3D file importing yet. Hopefully within the next week or two, I'll be able to start showing some previews of that. But that's going to really change the way Beyond Typicals can be used, because now you're showing your actual project, your actual corridor, not these generic buildings. And it's really going to, I think, impress clients. And you will need a little bit more technical knowledge to be able to do some of these things, but many of you that use Beyond Typicals already have that and have been asking for these features. And so photogrammetry, I think, is really going to be key. And then in addition, I just use this example. This is something from Sketchfab. But if you have a specific type of light or bollard or street sign, you'll be able to import those into Beyond Typicals. You'll be able to organize those assets, assign it to the section you want, and then you'll be able to place it. And so the complaints or the questions about, I want to show something very specific for my client, you will now have that control and that ability with 3D file importing. And starting out, we're going to probably just support FBX and OBJ just to keep things simple. And again, this is a pro-only feature, and this will change the file size. One of the great things about Beyond Typicals is the file sizes are so small, but once you start importing, just beware that those file sizes are going to start to grow very quickly. So, and we're also going to do some cool things with like invisible sections, where you can attach a 3D import to an invisible section and then do some really customizable things, like make your own sections if you want to. So with these new features, I think there will be things done in Beyond Typicals that I can't really comprehend yet. And I'm excited to get that into your hands so that you can kind of push the boundaries of what that will do. And this isn't going to be any extra cost. It's just going to be available to all of our users, all of our paying subscribers. So what we hope to do, and we still need to work with Epic Games on this, is to have a different download page on the Epic Games launcher for that, in addition to the zipped folder that we've been providing on our website. And then we also want to get this into the Microsoft Store for those that have been asking about that, so that you can have even more options to download Beyond Typicals, especially this version 2. So I'm going to now just jump into Beyond Typicals 2. And it's because I'm doing orbit. All right, so I was stuck for a little bit, but as you can see, this is just like the Beyond Typicals that you know and love. It just has a lot more realism. I've really been nerding out with the texturing. I'm a civil engineer. I'm not an expert on like sections of asphalt and concrete and so on. So a lot of this is, I want to get some realism, but also make things look aesthetically pleasing as well. But you can even see, like, I nerded out on the open grade here, and then the asphalt, and then the subgrade, and then like the type 2 base below that, and then the soil below that. And then another thing, let me shut off the traffic. I always end up shutting off the traffic on demos, or at least pausing it. Like the striping, it just used to be a solid mark, and I went through and really tried to make that as realistic as possible. So I'm hopeful that the overall effect of all of these little changes will be a lot more realism to the overall Beyond Typical aesthetic. You can see the bike lanes, you can see the sidewalk texturing, and this is all obviously with Unreal 5, which utilizes something called Lumen, which is better light bouncing and more realism. And so it's going to be, I think, really a lot more attractive than what we've been getting out of Beyond Typicals 1. And yeah, we can go to sections. Let's say that we want to add some gutters. And just to warn you, sometimes these crash when I do video presentations for whatever reason. So if it crashes, we'll just keep moving forward. But you can see, if I wanted to add gutter, we can go and do that. And if we wanted to add transfer shoring, we've really tried to make this much better. So I want to show and we now have library assets, expansion pack, and imported assets. And these are still work in progress. But the library assets is where you'll see all of the assets shipped with the product. We're still working on the thumbnails here. But let's say, for example, we want to add, for whatever reason, a bollard to this this shoulder. Where's our shoulder? Right here. So right here, if you go to basic, you'll see that the assets, these are the assets that we have right now. And you can go to the section and you can go to shoulder. And you can also see those checkboxed here as well. And so if we wanted to add a bollard, we could go and just go bollard 1, 2, 3, 4. And now when we select that section, those assets are all available here. And that's how that's going to work. So you can be in full control of both the library assets, the expansion pack assets, and the 3D file imports. So if you want to import your own bollard, you would import it, scale it, rotate it, get it the way you want, and then you could attach it to whichever sections you want and do it this way. Or you can do custom asset placement as well. So if I want to do custom asset placement, we'll see those bollards are there, and we can place them custom. So you can see how much better this is going to make how much better it's going to make Beyond Typicals in general, having this ability now to import 3D files and place them wherever we want, assign them to whatever textures, whatever sections we want to assign them to. So with things like bollards, lights, signs, power poles, whatever you want, hydrants, and especially buildings, because again, we have our own generic buildings, and hopefully we will be adding more of them, but it's never going to look as good unless you can get your own buildings in there as well. So those are the big features of version 2, and as I mentioned before, that will be available November 1st, 2022. I believe that's a Tuesday. And if you want to get your hands on this before then, please let me know. If you are a paying subscriber, we can get you on the dev branch and you can start accessing it. As always, that's going to be, I'm going to warn you that might not be as stable because we are still under development. Your files might be corrupted and might crash and so on. But please reach out to me, sam@beyondware.com, if you are interested in getting involved in testing. We probably won't get you there yet, but in September and definitely October, we want to get more people using this than just our own internal team, so that we can make sure that this is solid as possible. We want to make sure that it will not, crash more than it needs to. We want to see what use cases you have for it, and then maybe even some marketing materials if you're interested in that. Yes, Chris, you're going to be interested in testing, so we'll be in touch on that as well. All right, so let's talk about BeyondCAD version 2. So our goal right now is we are almost all in focused on Beyond Typicals development for this November 1st launch of version 2. BeyondCAD development is put mostly on the back burner right now. And then once we get the version 2 of Beyond Typicals shipped, we will shift our focus to BeyondCAD. And especially for like me, I'm trying to learn texturing and other aspects of Unreal Engine. And it's easier in Beyond Typicals, and then I want to apply that in BeyondCAD because we want to have as much realism, as much texturing as possible in there. So one of the big things in that is going to be an all new traffic system. We do have a great traffic system, but it's not as robust as we would like it to be. And so we're just kind of starting from scratch on that. And the way it will be handled is you'll still be able to use the old one, but we'll have an option for the new one. And so you might even be able to mix those in the same project if you would like to. MetaHuman as well will be involved in that traffic system. It's just a really nice aesthetic that Epic has been offering to Unreal users. And then we'll have improved importing and texturing. And importing is one of the bottlenecks that if someone gets into BeyondCAD and they're not able to import, then they're not able to go farther. And so we really want to make importing a better process. In addition to that, have better training and support as well, so that more users can get right into using BeyondCAD. So I want to do this demo. Let me pull this up. And this is not BeyondCAD, but it's what I hope BeyondCAD will look like when it launches. And I might have to change my screen share for this. All right, so this is part of Unreal. This is Unreal Engine 5. This is part of a demo that Epic has made available. It's called, well, they did this demo with the Matrix, but you can download it. It's called like the City demo or something like that. But you can just see how realistic this is. And to get this level of realism, there are a lot of things going on, including Unreal Engine 5 updates like Lumen and Nanite, and then also things like texturing and some things with the sky, and then the assets. They've just used some really good assets. And so our goal with BeyondCAD is to use a lot of these same tricks to get the same level of realism, including these metahuman assets. We want to use the same traffic system, and this is actually kind of our own development efforts. And so you'll see, if you look close enough, that the traffic, they are stopping, and the lights are actually in sync with the traffic. So those just went green, and now they're going yellow, and now they're going red. And so now it's going to shift to green in this direction, and these vehicles will start going. At least the pedestrians are going to start going. And then you'll see we have turn signals and headlights and brake lights. And so this is the level of realism that we want to offer with BeyondCAD 2, again launched in early 2023. So I'll be sharing some more previews of that as we get further along in our development of that. The animations on these pedestrians are just so much more realistic. They're going to stop, they're going to wait, they're going to look around, they have different props, and that's what we want BeyondCAD to be able to offer. And you can imagine if you're able to do this with InfraWorks or your Civil 3D or Inroads files, OpenRoads, MicroStation, it's really going to, I think, blow people away. So back to live stream, switch back. All right, so yes, Charles is asking, are we looking at the Unreal Engine 5? Yes, that's the Unreal Engine 5. That's one of the demos they have, and we've been trying to tweak that and convert that traffic system and assets and pedestrians to be able to be available in BeyondCAD. And one thing that's great about Epic and Unreal Engine is they invest in these really cool things, and then they make them available to Unreal Engine users. And so that's why we want to utilize those assets to get the most out of BeyondCAD. Both the metahuman, the vehicle assets, the traffic system, the texturing, we want to bring that over and convert that and make that available for your own projects. Right, so let me shut this off. So I'm trying to not to make this take too long, but now I want to open it up to questions and answers. If any of you do have questions, let me know in the comments. I'm trying to monitor those. And if you want to see something in Beyond Typicals, I still have that open, Beyond Typicals 2, the dev version that I've been using, and I can share anything else in that as well. So I'm going to open that back up while I'm waiting to see if any of you have any more comments on or questions on anything. One thing too I want to point out, back to my nerding out with the texturing, you'll see these wear paths that I learned how to do, and these tire wear paths, and they're very subtle, but you can really tell when you zoom out, and it just makes such a difference versus the old one especially. And right here we have the 2A left turn, and you probably wouldn't want those wear paths, and so some of the sections you'll be able to replace them, for example, and those ones don't have wear paths. So even those subtleties of what would things actually look like. All right, so Kurt's asking, BeyondCAD version 1 tutorials effective for BeyondCAD 2? Theoretically, yes. I mean, not a lot is going to change as far as function goes. The traffic system will be different, and so we'll have some tutorials around that, and some other things will improve. So we'll probably still leave them available, but the goal will be to, during the development process, make new training materials, especially thanks to you guys at Washington State DOT. I may continue to use some of your guys' 3D models and assets, because that is really important to match what the users are seeing with what they're seeing in the training materials. So yes, part of the goal will be to do all new training and marketing materials for both Beyond Typicals and BeyondCAD as we move forward. And I feel like I'm always making new training materials, because it's just changing all the time. And as our team grows, we'll have other people that will do that. But our goal is to just keep improving this all the time, and things are improving so much that we just can't sit on things for a while. All right, one's asking about night scenes. Probably not in Beyond Typicals, at least for this version 2 launch. For BeyondCAD, yes, we do want to make that available. I mean, it's just a matter of adding illuminated lights and then being able to control those. I mean, the time of day, you've always had that ability in both of our software applications. So yeah, we want to make that a priority for this version 2 launch of BeyondCAD. And then Chris is asking, will there be separate material textures available for the existing pavement compared to proposed pavement? Would be a good way to differentiate if existing shows more wear than proposed. Yes, and I totally agree too. These are a little bit cracked. You might not want to show that for the proposed stuff. So we'll have at least the same system as we have now. I broke it when I was fixing these, so it doesn't work right now. It just keeps the same one. But yeah, you'll be able to switch at least the top texture out if you want to show those, like you can in version 1, including dirt, concrete. I really want to make a concrete wear path one too, so that you can have the same realism for concrete paving, especially for things like bridges. So yes, that will be there. I do have a dream. I don't know if it's going to be available by this November 1st launch, but having a whole new texture tab, and you open it and all your textures will be available, and you can just drag them and drop them to any mesh, like you can in BeyondCAD. Once you're able to do that, then it's just really opens up what you can do with your texturing, but I can't promise that will be available for version 1. All right, Zane, are there considerations for crossing streets, bridges, utility drainage in future releases? So as far as having like some sort of intersection, that definitely won't be available for this release. You will have, already you can do, crosswalks. You could do them here, and then I think we have asset placement, placement mode, crosswalk. Do we have crosswalk here? Maybe we can go and add crosswalk here. And once you get into the custom placement realm, then you can do so many more things. And one thing we're going to add for this asset thing as well is the, we don't have here, but have a search box. So you can just search and find your asset, apply it to the section, and then place it that way. So we're going to have a lot more assets, especially with the expansion pack, where you'll be able to do much more customization with like pedestrian crossings, including the assets, the asset expansion pack, and then especially imported assets. But we won't have any sort of intersections. And then we do have a goal eventually. Let's go to phasing, duplicate current phase, layout, create layout. So right now you can do this, and all we'd have to do is rotate one of these 90 degrees, and then you have like a bridge going over a road. And that's something that we hope to have soon. I don't know if it'll be available for this version too. So lots of options for that coming up. Surveyor, can users see coordinates, and can I, as a client, use my own projection and datum? Definitely not in Beyond Typicals. In Beyond CAD, you can already kind of do that, and then we're going to keep improving importing, especially so that it recognizes those global coordinates. It kind of does already. We just haven't done enough testing and training on that, and then making it sync across multiple platforms and imports. So we need more. Definitely need more development time and testing on the coordinates and datum and that kind of thing. So Brian Wilson, Beyond Typicals, could you add a curb bump out without the detectable warning field? We can definitely add that as one of the let me exit layout mode, as one of the library assets, but also definitely as one of the expansion packs. That's even easier. And then with this imported asset, you'll have even more ability. And we'll have training too. I mean, if you don't know how, you can go to like Sketchfab. And this is actually now owned by Epic as well. And so someday we want integration directly with Sketchfab. But if you did like Curb, you could go find what you wanted and then download it and then import it in as an FBX or an OBJ. So like if you wanted to get one of these, you can build some stuff out with some of these buildable ones. You're going to need a little bit of 3D modeling knowledge to do some of those things. But if you wanted something, you just go here. Actually, before I do that, when you're in Sketchfab, you do click the downloadable. That way it's only going to show the ones that are downloadable. And then you find what you want. Some of these are free, some of these are paid. And then you just go to download 3D model, and then you can choose, I'm not logged in right now, but you can choose the file type, and you choose FBX or OBJ, and then you'll be able to import those into Beyond Typicals. And Juan's asking about ADA ramps. Again, if you have requests for specific assets, make sure to add them to .cplan. Is that what it is? Our roadmap? Nope, that's not it. If you go to products, Beyond Typicals roadmap, go here and add your suggestions there, and that way we can compile them. And if you haven't done this before, you can go to feedback and create a post, and then that way you can add your own comments. So if you want assets, get them in there. But with this 3D importing, we're going to have so many options more available for that. So Ron's asking, joined late, what about water, rain drainage across surfaces? So we don't have any plans for that in Beyond Typicals. I mean, the best we might be able to do is to make textures that look wet, but that's not really the purpose of this. You can continue to add, we've done this for a while, so I'm not sure if it works. Yeah, so you can go through here and add a custom label, edit custom label, and go to, we have a text image, there we go. So you can add slope labels showing different slopes. That way you can put 2% and show which movement that is, like that for example, and adjust the scale and all that thing. So there are a lot of ways to show using arrows and custom labels what's happening with your project, but we're not gonna have water running across the project for this version, but that sounds kind of cool for future versions for sure. So one other thing about these textures, some of them still aren't scaling correctly. You'll see some of them don't stretch and some of them do. Just again, we're still working on getting all these kinks worked out as we develop and move toward that. So these have been really good questions. Any other questions? So anyway, hopefully you guys can imagine what this is going to look like once we get it completed with even more textures, the metahumans, the new assets, the new vehicles and so on. It's going to be a really nice product for those that have been using Beyond Typicals and those that will be using it in the future. And just a note for those that are curious, we have started to get a lot more adoption, and that's really exciting for us. For just one metric, in July we had, I think, 42 free trial signups, and in August we're going to have over 100. So we're starting to learn how to grow in that way, and that's really important because once we get more paying subscribers, then we'll be able to hire more development team and really integrate a lot of these features and make these products that much better. So lots of good things coming from the Beyondware side of things. All right, well, I'm going to wrap up, and reach out to me on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/Sam Lytle. And also you can email me, sam@beyondware.com. Feel free to reach out at any time about that. If you haven't already, make sure to try out the free trial. And that free trial works for all of our products, Beyond Typicals Pro and Beyond CAD. And we changed the free trial system last month where you sign up for it. That one code works for all of our products. And then when you're ready to upgrade to pay, then you just go into your account, add your payment information, and choose the pricing plan that you want. So hopefully that's clear enough. We've tried to make a lot of tutorial information about all of that. So I appreciate all of you that have joined me, all of you that are watching this in the future that couldn't make it today. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys next time.